It is 5 after. I've got a couple brief announcements and then we'll turn things over to Rob and Maxine. My name is Sarah Mutter. I am the Southwest District Chair for the North Dakota Professional Communicators, heading up the Prairie Communicators, which is the chapter based in Bismarck. For those of you who are unfamiliar with North Dakota Professional Communicators, our membership is made up of individuals employed in all aspects of communications. We work for businesses, nonprofit organizations, and government agencies, and are small business owners or freelancers. All our members are committed to the advancement of communications professions, the exchange of ideas, and the recognition and encouragement of our organization's membership. So before I turn the screen over to Rob and Maxine, I have a couple quick announcements for you. A reminder that North Dakota Professional Communicators is accepting entries for 2022 communications contest. They have to be work that was completed between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2021 to be eligible. More information is available on our website. I will try to drop the address here into the chat as well. See if I can do that. Anyway, also, let's say today's meeting is part of a series of virtual meetings that the statewide organization is offering to our membership this year. We're planning on roughly one virtual meeting per month if all goes as planned. Before we sign off today, I'll provide some details on the November meeting that will be hosted by the Minot Area Communicators and some details on the November meeting that's going to be hosted by our group, the Prairie Communicators. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Zoom, I've got a couple tips for you before we get started. Again, asking you to leave your cameras off right now and remain muted so we can focus on speakers. If you have questions, you can unmute yourself or enter them in the chat. If you're having difficulty finding the chat button, roll your mouse over the lower half of the screen and it should pop up that and all the other tools that are available through Zoom. So our speakers today are NDPIO President Rob Keller and Vice President Maxine Herr. Rob has worked in public affairs and crisis communications for over 40 years. He was retired from the U.S. Army when he received a call from the U.S. Department of Emergency Services to work a small protest happening in I live in Morton County and I can't say Morton County today. Having in southern Morton County that would probably fizzle out in 2 to 3 months. During the DAPL protest, Rob was the lead PIO for the Morton County Sheriff's Office in the North Dakota Department of Emergency Services Joint Information Center. Rob and his team of over 15 PIOs worked over 500 media engagements during a 234-day protest that garnered the attention of the world. More recently, Rob was a deputy PIO for the North Dakota COVID-19 response and helped form a 50-person Joint Information Center staff within 2 weeks. It continued for almost 2 years. He's been a FEMA crisis communications trainer for more than 10 years, having trained more than 600 PIO practitioners to be crisis ready. Maxine Herr has served as a public information officer for Morton County since 2017. She started her career as a TV news reporter and anchor before moving to Phoenix, Arizona, where she worked for a national engineering firm. After returning to North Dakota, she did freelance writing and public relations consulting. She's had the privilege of working alongside Rob, leading public information efforts as part of the North Dakota Emergency Management Support Team during the DAPL protest, regional flooding, and the state's COVID-19 response. Today, Rob and Maxine will be sharing news about a project they're both passionate about, an association for public information officers that will launch in January 2022. So when I asked Maxine to provide a topic description, she said, on their own, public information officers tackle important messaging, handle crises, like and keep the public informed. When they come together, they discover a greater satisfaction in their jobs and become highly skilled professionals. So to tell you how we can become better together with other state PIOs, I give you Rob Keller and Maxine Herr, and that was my dog, so that's my clue to mute myself.
Gosh, when you read all of our bios there, you realize just what the person has always done, has been doing. So I feel old. I am old. I'm 69. So a lot of people said, what are you doing starting a nonprofit when you're almost 70? Well, gosh, I feel that that's a great age. I think 70 now is a new 50. I don't know. So, but anyway, so Maxine and I are just really excited to be on here. So we're going to kind of double team here and give you a little background first. We had about 6 slides, and we want to be able to give you just a 30,000-foot view of where we are with this association, how it came into being, and the future that we're looking for within the state of North Dakota, and actually outside the boundaries of North Dakota as well too. So it's a work in progress. It started maybe about, well, in my mind, it had been for quite a long time to think about doing some sort of networking with other practitioners. And I think we all do that in some manner or form. And for me, it started, I see we have some former PIO folks from the National Guard, and they'll probably remember some of this, but you know, it started with when we went to war and trying to get all the information out to the media, but it really hit us hard when we started having Killed in Action. And, you know, it was a new thing for us, new thing for me as a public information officer. And so I had a speed dial with a lot of states that had gone through that process. And what did you do? How did you work with the media? What's the protocol? What's the regulations that we had to follow? And so we started going through that particular piece right there. And that networking was a lifesaver for me as we went through just asking those tough questions that I hadn't been through before. And then as a PIO, we also had the governor's cabinet PIOs, and we were meeting regularly once a month to go through what are we working on? How can we help you? And that was very helpful to a lot of the PIOs that were on those leadership positions within the state government. And so we started to realize, and Dakota Access Pipeline came along, and Max and I were asked to be some keynote speakers about it in Utah, and went out there and was able to see firsthand I think Maxine, it was a 2-day or 3-day conference. I can't recall.
I think it was 2.
2-day, yeah. So we were out there and we were just looking at just, you know, all the training, the breakaways, and thinking, wow, I mean, this would be awesome to get back into North Dakota. Well, that was kind of start of it. And so I'll let Maxine tell her side as well, and we'll move on into the next area.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really, during the protests, it came to mind often that while we're really fortunate that this happened so close to Bismarck-Mandan, that we had access to state PIOs right in our backyard. So, and it didn't escape me at all that what if this happened? I mean, this was an oil pipeline. What if this would have happened in rural oil country? You know, in some place they don't have any PIOs, don't have access to any PIOs from the state, would have had to travel to go to this. How many would have been able to do that sort of thing. So it wasn't lost on us that something like this association would be really helpful if there was ever some kind of incident or just run-of-the-mill day-to-day activities that we do as PIOs, where we might need a helping hand, or we may need to toss an idea out to somebody, or we do just need to pick up the phone and say, I've just been tasked with this. What in the world? How would you do this? Where should I start? To be able to have that network. And like you said, when we went to the Utah PIO Association annual conference, that really did open our eyes to this is really, really helpful. Something they talked about at that conference was because of the association that they have strike teams, and you could actually go to their website, and there's a button on their website if you're in an emergency, and you can click on that, and it walks through the steps of how, you know, where you should go for help first, and then how to move along. But if it gets to the point where you need help, they have a strike team. So there's people that are willing to come and help. And to a certain extent, the emergency management support team that the state has, that Rob and I are both PIOs on, is very similar, although Rob and I are the only PIOs on that team. So that's also another invitation. If you're ever interested in being a part of that team, we would love to have more PIOs on that team as well. But it was just the idea of, we really want all these PIOs in our state to not feel like they're an island of themselves. I mean, when I came on at Morton County, so the protest was over, I had served within that, and then everybody else went home, and I stayed as the PIO for Morton County. I did kind of feel like this overwhelming, oh, now I'm on my own. Now, what happens if there's a huge incident that happens just down the street? What am I going to do? So I did contact, anybody that does PIO or public affairs type thing within Morton County or serves Morton County, and kind of got a little team together that way, so that I do know if there's something that comes up, I have them to rely on too. But just because of all the expertise and all the kinds of background that we have within the state, we just felt that bringing us all together under one umbrella, having this association, would really benefit everybody.
Yeah, and as we're going through the start of it, it's been, to get to this point where we are today, it's been about 2-year process, from getting our articles of incorporation, our logo. You can see it on the screen in front of you, a microphone, silhouette. But it's been about a couple years. We did a pretty extensive bylaws, because one of the things that Maxine and I want to do was to create a association that's not just short-term but long-term. I look at the association that we all belong to, it's 90 years old, 80 years old, and to build that into the future, and so that we can actually grow. I think in the bylaws there's a place if we want to hire a full-time executive director. So we anticipate this. We took more time to doing it, but those bylaws and everything is going to be introduced into the Secretary of State's office, North Dakota, and also the IRS, to get our 501c3. And at that point, we can work on getting some grants as well too. So launching on January 1st of 2022. Members are public information officers employed by North Dakota city, county, state government agencies, divisions, whatever. And it helps many members who serve as a media contact for their organization. And if any of you fit that role, that's the type of person that we are looking at getting into the organization. Other roles may include public relations, public education, social media engagement, speech writing, emergency communications, management. If you're involved in those roles in some sort of the government, like we talked about, then the association is for you as well. And we are dedicated to the professional development, enhancement of its members. And that includes all kinds of things, from training to online training. We're looking at, not in 2022, but 23, having a 2-day face-to-face conference. We have been, in this world, we have been involved in a lot of virtual meetings, and we have some very exciting quarterly training coming up with some very influential public information folks within our profession. And we want it to be a training ground for that as well too. So I just want to introduce our board members, and these folks who are come to us, we handpicked at the beginning, but after this point, they will be elected through our bylaws, but we have to start some point. But we have as our treasurer is Jen Rabb. As our secretary is Jennifer Geffrey. We have Clint Fleckenstein, who was, we needed someone in the visual medium. Matt Wallstead, who really came to us with a lot of expertise in doing 501c3s. He's got a degree in that, so he was very instrumental. I see Billy Joe Laureus is on as well. Billy Joe and I have deployed together, and I've both been public information officers for the North Dakota Guard. And so it's good to have her expertise is on as well. And then Eric Jensen, who retired from within the National Guard as well too. So we have 8 members, including Maxine and I. So I think, Maxine, we could probably go to the next
All right.
Next slide there, go ahead.
So you may wonder, why should I belong to this organization? Well, here's kind of our 4 pillars. Collaboration is really a key one. Being able to know that someone is just a call, text, or email away with expertise that you might need. You know, we all have professional goals, so we really want to help you with that. Another aspect of this collaboration is we're planning to have the association also broken into 4 regions that would follow the regions of, if you ever go to North Dakota DES, emergency services, they have 4 quadrants of the state as well that they divided into, and so we're following that. So we really want to have like a regional network as well, that you guys can have, you know, monthly or quarterly meetings, get-togethers, and just that would be a little bit more of a tighter knit group, because each region of our state is a little different, and so just having that, having those people that kind of understand a little bit where you're coming from, I think that would be really helpful. As far as resources, this is a big one. There's so many things within our jobs that, you know, can you come up with a policy for this? Can you create a template for that? To not have to reinvent the wheel is huge. We don't have a lot of time. So this is just a really, really helpful one, is we want to be able to provide resources. So when you need to put together a crisis communications plan, or you need a template for something, you can reach out and somebody who's probably already done this, and you can get ideas and be able to work from there. So you're not just starting from scratch. One time that this was proved really helpful for me, some of you may remember in 2018, there was a plane crash in Morton County, and that was when 3 of our first responders went down and were all killed. And so I was, you know, managing that information, but that happened, I can't remember what day that happened, but it was a few days later that I was leaving town. I was going to California with my daughter, so I was planning this trip, and so we had a, you know, we were handling the public information. It was kind of, you know, the information was out there. We were just kind of waiting on, you know, investigation, which we knew would take a long time. And as I'm heading out of town, I realized, well, I got a phone call from one of the chaplains from the crisis care chaplaincy, who said, do you have a PIO that we can use for the funeral to help us get this funeral taken care of? I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be a massive funeral, 3 first responders. Yeah, you're going to need that. But I was headed out of town. So because of the Utah PIO Association conference we went to, and learning, they actually had a breakout session about funeral preparation. And it was, the way they had it was for more for law enforcement, but it certainly worked for this. So I submitted that, and actually I believe it was the public relations person from the St. Alexius that kind of spearheaded and handled all of that. She did a great job, but just knowing that I could pass along this resource, and it was a whole handbook of how to handle a large funeral situation like that. So it wasn't, I didn't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm just leaving them in the lurch. I don't have anything for them, and I'm going to have to be working over vacation. It really paid off. So things like that, just to know that we have each other's back, and we can, there's probably somebody that has something to use. And then, you know, the training part of it, that's huge. We're always trying to find opportunities to learn more. Our industry is changing a lot. I mean, just the social media in itself is always having changes, but even just how the public perceives government these days, we know is changing. So we have to change along with it. So having opportunities for more training and learning is really good. Obviously, Rob is always doing basic PIO courses throughout the year. That's really important. Those are really good courses for people to tap into if you haven't already. And then there's other continuing education that DES provides as well. It's always worth looking into. But we do plan to provide really good training. We're working really hard to find the best of the best that we can bring to this association, so that you can learn things that you wouldn't get anywhere else. And then just quick tips, I guess, is it's those things, it's just the day-to-day stuff. So that's a big reason we have our Facebook group page, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But that's really important to have just knowing there's a place where if you've got a question in the course of your day, you need a creative idea and your brain is completely in a fog, or you just need somebody to look at something for you, to be able to reach out and have some response within a matter of minutes really means a lot. So it's just the quick idea is to know that you're covered. You've got people in your corner. You've got people that you can bounce ideas off of. We also want to, with our website is going to provide like media lists and membership directory, the opportunity for you to kind of see what other people are doing. We're going to have, we'll have a member portal on our website that's going to allow us to have things that'll be a little bit more focused just toward the membership and not open to the public. Anything you want to add on that, Rob?
Yeah, one of the things that, is if the training that you see that I've given from FEMA, we 95% of your time is spent in just the day-to-day operations. And when that 5% hits, whatever it is that's unique to your agency, that's when you do not have time to do a lot of the templates, to do the relationship building, et cetera. And that's the concept here as well, too. And one of the things that we noticed during COVID is the ability and during an incident or crisis for your agency to fall under, or it may fall under, there's a good likelihood it will. And like, for example, the COVID Joint Information Center, I believe we had like 70 people, including PIOs and the support staff. Not all those agencies had experience in working with the incident command system, which whenever we go through a disaster, we do fall underneath that. And there's certain responsibilities and things that we need to be doing for the incident commander as well within the PIO realm. And the training that we would like to do in the future with some of that is train PIOs to how do we fit into that structure and where do we fall in the organizational chart. And when you look at it, we're right off the incident commander. So that right there tells us that there's a lot of value is placed in our expertise that we offer up to the agency, talking heads, surrogates, whatever. So those are some of the things that we are going to be doing training on. It's not just going to be just a meet once a month, but we are going to look at starting up a virtual operations support team. So say, for example, in the Northwest side, Northeast, there's a crazy emergency that's going on and you need someone to monitor the social media. That's where the other team members who are not involved in that particular disaster can come on board and just be virtually working with you. Not necessarily be seeing it, but we can monitor social media. We can help write templates. We can help write press release. We can review some of your pressers and all that too. So a lot of us have expertise in that areas, and that's a time to reach out to others as well. So we talk about, we use the term, why should I belong? That's at the top. Many of us have joined an organization, but when you join something, you have to have a benefit to start using it. And that's why we Maxine, I want to use the term, why do you want to belong? Because when you belong to an organization, you have a vested interest in it. It's part and parcel of what you're doing. It's something that you believe in. And so that's why we are asking folks to belong. Once we launched, when Maxine and I launched the Facebook, it was about a month ago. Right now we have 82 PIOs that have logged in and answered the questions on it. So that we know that you're a bona fide PIO. And so, I mean, that tells us right there in the survey that we did and people were interested in it. We're just excited about where the association is going and the future that it holds as well too. So we're just happy that you're listening. And if you know of anyone that is in the realm that we talked about, please refer them to an information number or web page. We're going to email that you can get to them as well too. So, okay, next one is, there's our logo. And I don't know how we came up with the colors, Maxine, but
they come up for us. We just approved it.
Yeah. So anyway, how is it different? And a lot of people have asked, well, how is this different from the International Association of Business Communicators or other organizations as well? I think the key to keep in mind is that we, as public information officers in those areas that I mentioned at the very beginning, that's and it's really not geared to the public information officer of a major corporation or whatever, because when we're in the federal government, state government, we have a different motive, different mission statement in which we have to operate under as we fulfill the needs of the state, of the audience that we serve. So we are local, state, federal, tribal. We have to be respectful of transparency, integrity, accountability, stakeholder participation, and that's at all times. We can't let that slip in what we are doing. And so that's why we work a little differently than the private sector. And so this association is dedicated to those governmental PIOs and those other agencies that fall underneath that or have that part-time job. You might be a county auditor, but yet, you know, the commissioners want you to be working with the press, with the writing press releases. So this is a type of company or the association that is important. It's not just a group for networking, but a team to count on. We've already gone through some of that. Associations are great for networking, but many agencies have a one-person PIO. Many of you are on this call here are just a part-time PIO or maybe a full-time, and that and you're juggling a hat with other duties as well too, juggling the balls. So our association, it will be a place where you can go to get help, assistance. Sometimes it's just listening to a new program you're going through. How can we help? And so while all the factors have not been put into place, how it's going to operate as a whole, a lot of it will come about with the specific needs of our membership as we start to develop that particular path. We talked, maybe you might need someone to monitor the media for a few days, or you haven't really done a press conference and you want to, how do we do a press conference? Who do we have there? How do we invite the media, et cetera? So, or you may have a full-scale exercise. Or you may have something happen in your county and you wake up the next morning and your social media account has 20,000 trolls. I mean, Maxine and I, others on this call here have gone through that. So we work together. We are stronger as a state as well. And then we engage citizens in a fiscally responsible way that still brings results. We all operate in our agencies under the guidelines and protocols within those. And we're unique from the private sector is that we are accountable to our citizens and their tax dollars. When we have a disaster emergency, all of ours are doing into the community bank of trust. You're going to hear me saying more about that as we go along, but what are we doing to get our shareholders, our stakeholders to operate and to see what we are doing and making a difference within our community? So we're making deposits in there, whether it's doing campaigns, name the dog for the police department, the canine, whatever it is, you're putting deposits into that. But at some point, your agency is going to have to take withdrawals. And that's a negative comment. That's someone doing a letter to the editor. That is a negative twist. And so how do we keep that balance in there? But at the same time, how do we respond to those withdrawals that are being taken out as well? So we have to be accountable to our citizens and the tax dollars. And sometimes we're asked to do more with less. I mean, that's not a new concept. And that's why this association is extremely important, because the exponential growth of what we can do can help that individual PIO within the agency. So best practices, help you to, if you need to duplicate things, and how can we help you and all that. So that's how we are different when it comes to the association, the North Dakota Public Information Officers Association. Anything, Maxine, on that?
No, I think we'll move on to give me a little more details just about how this will run. So there is currently, and through the end of the year, our NDPIO Association Facebook group is open to anyone, any PIOs right now, to start the conversations, to share resources, encourage one another, any of that. But starting in January, when we do launch, and you will require membership in the association in order to remain in the Facebook group. But we wanted to kind of give people just a sneak peek at what we have to offer. And then the website, like I mentioned earlier, there'll be a member portal, which is going to have just a lot of helpful content, online training, just some things resources and things that will only be available to members. So that will be really useful too. We plan to have quarterly meetings and exercises throughout the state. That's to really just engage members, to develop your skills, and that networking, which is, we all know, is really important. I want you to always understand and know that our board, the 8 of us right now, are always open to your feedback. Obviously, we are just launching a new association, so we're always really going to welcome any information you might have, questions, suggestions, any of that. We would love that. And like Rob said, we're really excited about being able to do an annual conference in 2023. And we really want to make that just a top-notch conference, something that'd be really, really, really well worth your time. Something that we're going to work on as well, and because it's a new association, and while we had in our survey that we did, we had around 90% of the PIOs that responded about the membership. We plan to charge a $100 membership fee, and around 90% of them said that their employer would likely pay for that. And so in order to help that, we are going to put together kind of an executive summary type thing that you could present to your employer, so they can kind of get an idea of what this is for, what the benefits would be, to in case you need a little help getting the funding for that. So we definitely want to help with that. So it's just a unique organization we hope to create here, and we really want everybody to just dive in, and like Rob said, it is one to belong to. It's something that we want you to take ownership of and to really be involved and you know, grab hold of what there is here and be able to just, you know, to give back as well.
One of the things that I want to, you know, like these, you know, what we can do on the daily is we're going to have toolboxes in there, directories. We talked about the community bank, a trust, and the thing is, when we started to organize this, we had a lot of agencies come to us and ask for more information, which prompted this briefing here. But we had one agency that has about 5 or 6 PIOs, and the lead PIO, the director of the communications, is going to allow all of their folks to come into the organization, and the agency will be paying for that $100 fee out of their professional dollars that they have in their account or within their budget to provide this. And we hope that that'll be a good return on the investment as well too, because of just what we're able to do and help out and help that individual PIO as well too. So so that's, yeah, those are the details. And like I said, it's a work in progress, and it's growing even more and more. And so, I mean, we're only as good as the ideas that come in. And so as we're going through this, we're going to open up the questions here in just a few minutes, but we're always looking upon your feedback as well. So our Facebook is open to anyone interested in checking us out right now until that January 1st. And then they have to be able to answer some of those specific questions because it is a closed group where we have to, sometimes the conversations in there, we need to have not confidentiality in, but just to be able to share our ideas in there and let us know, am I going the right direction? Am I not? You know, and so, so as we engage with fellow PIOs, this is the Facebook page here, and I think we've got 79, but we have 82 as of this morning. And if you go in there and you click on it, answer the questions, Maxine will approve. And so go in there, and we're doing some great trainings on there, or directing you to trainings and other folks that we have cultured within the PIO world to direct you to, that are very well proven folks who have been in many crises and emergencies and disasters. And so they're what I would call battle hardened. And so that's how you can join that conversation. We're excited about the website that's coming up, done by Armor Interactive, and Mitch Grease is one awards who was doing our doing our website design, and we met with him several times and coming up with this as well. Be able to pay your dues online through the online banking or the online service there. So yeah, it's going to really grow with us. When we did the design of the website to make sure that there's lots of compartments that you won't see, but not to build them at that point, but all we do is turn a key and we turn it on whenever that opportunity comes up too. So next, go ahead, Maxine, on that last one there.
This is when you get to sign up. So we are coming in January. So watch your email. We have an email list, but if you have not seen any email come from me from that, then please reach out to the email at the bottom, the info@ndpio.org, so we can get you on that list so that you can get updates about when we start and when we have the website up and the ability to go ahead and register online. We want to be able to get you that information. So please email us at that email address, and any questions or concerns or suggestions can go there too. But just definitely ask you to reach out and get ready to sign up in January.
So I'd like to read our mission statement, because that mission statement is extremely important. We worked hard on coming up with this as well too. And I'm not expecting the board members to have it memorized, but we don't need to be aware of why we are doing what we are doing. But the mission statement reads as the NDPIO members are committed to improving the two-way flow of communication between the public and the agencies we represent. We strive to help people access government resources and understand how our respective agencies serve the public. We work hard to maintain open communications, fostering strong community relations, and provide the highest level of public service through effective communication. So that's in the code of ethics. We'll be adding that as well too, and a statement as well. So so that's www.ndpio.org is our website. I think we've made sure we protected that for a couple years, that it didn't go down the road with someone else. So we were lucky to snag that. And if you've probably seen some of my posts, I have a license plate that says NDPIO. So as a veteran, so don't know how I got that, but I was fortunate enough to get that as well too. So anyway, Maxine, I've done a lot of chatting. So Sarah, how do you want to do the questions? Just pop on and we'll see what we can do to help you. I think we have 21 participants, which is good.
You are welcome to enter questions into the chat. You can also unmute yourself, turn your camera on if anyone has questions. There was one question entered in there about this presentation being recorded. So if you got interrupted while Rob and Maxine we're talking, I will, once we get this uploaded to our YouTube account, share a link out to everyone that was registered so that you can go back and refer back to this, or maybe you want to share it with an associate or coworker, your boss or whatever, to let them know more about the organization as well. So.
Hey, John, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this organization is awesome. I've worked in as PIO for the city of Grand Forks now since 2006. My question is there thoughts down the road as the state organization, maybe getting connected with some of those federal organizations, 3CMA, ICMA, something like that?
I think part of that, and this is one answer to it. For example, Maxine is a part, and I've attended the International Officers Association, right? It's IOA.
NIOA,
National Information Officers Association. And so those are some of the larger groups across that pretty much encompass the entire 50 states and territories and provinces as well too. And what we want to do is, and other states are starting to notice that when we looked around at other states for a PIO association we could use as a framework, Utah was the one that kept coming up. There's a few others out there. South Dakota has expressed an interest in what we're doing because they don't have an association. And Max and I on the board will be looking at, okay, what about surrounding states? If you can meet if you're a PIO working in an agency, can we belong to the NDPIO? I think that the answer is yes. And we are getting attention from other organizations. I am on LinkedIn talking about this as well too. And I encourage all of you, if you're in the public affairs world, to have a LinkedIn account, because there's some great dialogue that's going on. And that's a way we are getting noticed from other states as well, following us as well too. So I hope that answers. Maxine, anything you want to add to that?
No, I just would say, I mean, that's checking to see if we could be affiliated with national organizations is certainly something we can look into and kind of see how that matches up.
And we can probably, you know, as an associate member of that organization, and what we're going to have associate members who will be able to come into the North Dakota NDPIO Association as well too. So,
Thank you,
John. Yep, thanks, John. Anyone else? I would like to give a shout out to Amy Wilson. Amy, are you on? You're on mute.
Hi. Yes, I was on mute. Hi, Rob. I am here.
I am. It was. I got to tell you about Amy. Amy was one of the first. Okay, I know. Amy was one of the first UPARs, Unit Public Affairs Representative, that we deployed with our unit that was deployed to Iraq. And Amy, you know, we went through the UPAR training, and one of the things that I saw from Amy, every time she wrote a story back, she was kind of like a correspondent embedded within the unit, but she was a soldier as well. Every story that she started to write back get better and better and better and better, until the North Dakota Newspaper Association, when she came back, recognized her for her skills. And her writing came back because every of those stories went out to all the local newspapers within the state. So Amy, kudos to you and your career, and got to serve with your brother and dad in the same unit, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And
Rob helped share that story and many more while we were overseas. So it was a great team to be able to get that information back home to everybody wondering what was going on. Yep.
And another person is Billy Joe Lorius was deployed, and Amber Schatz was here, I think, or Amber, yeah, I thought she was on. And so, but yeah, a lot of military background here too as well. And we're always in a crisis mode, it seems like. So any other questions? Concerns, ideas, tips? We're looking for all of those.
I think you bring up a good point, Rob, when too, is this the importance of this organization is, you know, you said, you know, we always seem to be in crisis, which today, yeah, it seems like we're always dealing with something. It used to be like, oh, that happened many years ago, but now it just seems like there's one after another after another. And to think that it won't hit your organization is probably naive. So to know that you have people to count on and have this organization for training and advice and different things, resources would be really helpful.
Yep.
Rob, you had one question again about what were the membership costs again? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, absolutely. We when we looked at the membership costs, we looked at, you know, because it was coming out of probably 90% would be professional dues. And so my wife's, what are you looking for? Yeah, the water is shut off. Yeah. Okay. We're having our sprinkler system blowing out. And so, where was it? Okay. So, but we came up with that $100 because we hopefully don't want to raise it a lot. And, you know, where every year it's going to be something, you know, but that $100, and that we looked at other fees around, and it seems reasonable as well too. And that'll be due at the first of the year, done through the account. You can do it online or send a check, or your agency can send a check in as well too on that. But there was something else, Maxine, you were saying that I had it on my mind here, and I just, you know, I know what, you know, in this changing society in which we are in, and, you know, especially with, you know, law enforcement, military, governmental, you know, and looking at, you know, reducing PIO numbers and all that. I mean, that's something that we have to be concerned about. And how do we go into our respective organizations and still meet the needs of our public, of what they're looking for us. Like I said, you're one incident away from having a crisis happen on your front doorstep. And just like, you know, family, when there's a disaster, you bring the family together, and collectively you're able to work through that and to come up with ideas on how to present, how to, you know, get the word out. And it's really important. I think, you know, this, from teaching crisis communication for, you know, many years, we've had the luxury of, many of you have been in the class, and several of us just finished the FEMA advanced course. which is at the tip of the spear when it comes to FEMA and what we're doing. But the bottom line comes back is getting the right information to the right people at the right times for the right reasons. And that is a simple way in which we do it. It gets complicated though, but if we keep that in the back of our mind, and this organization will help with that concept as well too. So.
Yeah, and I would just add to that, I know as far as on the county level, and I imagine that's similar on different levels as well, but there's only 3 county PIOs throughout the state of North Dakota. So, and we would love to have many, many more. So just the idea of the importance of having a PIO, that some agencies maybe just pass it off to, an emergency manager or to someone else to wear that hat. Maybe that isn't best. And if this association can be a cheerleader for that, or can help in any way to try to drive home the point that PIOs are really an essential piece of your agency, we're happy to do that too.
And I would like to have Billy Joe Lorius or Jen Rabb. I know they're both on. If you guys could unmute and just kind of, tell us, you were voluntold maybe to come on the committee here, but I think it's gone much further than that. So Jen or BJ? Didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Yeah, I'm here. What are we saying?
Okay.
That's typical.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
You
guys, I leave for vacation tomorrow. If I'm not multitasking right now, then it's going to be even worse.
I was going to say you were multitasking. No, just a little bit about Jen, being on the board, something you might want to just add, and what you see from your perspective as a PIO for a major agency.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm Jen Rabb. I'm the communications director at the Office of Management and Budget. And so I've got the pleasure of working with these two on some COVID things, I guess, when that kind of first kicked off back in March of 2020. From my standpoint for this perspective, it's, I know it's like way more about networking, but from my experience, it's really like who you know, not always what you know. And so if you have this network of people that you can reach out to, like you said, with questions and different things, honestly, it's already kind of proven itself just based on some of the things that have been happening in the Facebook group already. I don't think she's on, but Valerie Kingsley had reached out looking for, I think it was a crisis communication plan. And then it was like, bam, 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 bam. Maxine's like, yes, I have this from this person, this from this person, this from that person. And it's like, if that hadn't been able to take place, it would have really taken her, I'm guessing, quite a while to figure that out between the different research that you have to do, what goes into an actual crisis communications plan, et cetera. So I honestly already feel like it's sort of starting to prove itself already just from something like that. But yeah, for me, it's really about sharing resources. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that we're all in state government, but we each are reinventing our own wheels when we really should be sharing resources and ideas and working with each other. So, and
thanks, Shannon. Just to let people know that Jen was really instrumental in starting the State Communications Network, which is pulling together all the state PIOs as well too. We're not, in some ways it's networking, but we're not duplicating a lot of the things that we're doing there, but she's been instrumental in that too. But thanks, Jen, for that, and that's up and coming. So is Billy Joe on? There she is.
Yep, I'm here. I would second everything that Jen said. I think that having other people's perspective and those other resources can never hurt anything. And in fact, helping each other is kind of what it's all about. We're not in competition with one another. We work for the people. And I think that this is an organization that can bring us all together. I think you and Maxine covered everything very well about the resources and where we're going in the future. So, I'm excited to see how it all turns out. And I think it's going to be a great resource for the state and hopefully other states. I really like the idea of branching out and, being a resource for South Dakota as well, or other states.
All right. Sorry, I'm up against the 5 minutes yet here. So any other questions? You've got our email on that last slide there, which kind of, if you have any questions, please or many of you have my number and email as well too. Please just give us a call, because I'm retired, although my wife says I'm not retired, have a little more luxury of some free time, but be willing to chat with you as well too. And if you know of anyone, November 16th, 17th, 18th in Williston, we're doing the new L105, which is the new basic PIO and how to set up a joint information center. It's free, there's no cost. And if you know anybody up in that northwest area, it's 3 days. You have to commit to that 3 days, and it'll be probably the one of it's in that professional development training area. So it's on the North Dakota DES website as well, if you want to take a look at that.
I think that's all from us. Sarah, do you have any
Yeah.
parting words?
I just have a couple quick announcements. First of all, I wanted to thank Rob and Maxine for sharing. For those of us who work as PIOs, we greatly appreciate what you're doing to pull forth or put together a support system for North Dakota's public information officers. When Rob and I talked about hosting this session, he was like, well, are you sure the North Dakota Professional Communicators want to host a presentation on a competitor? I guess I don't view you guys as a competitor. North Dakota Professional Communicators is more dedicated to the creative aspect of communications, but there are plenty of us in our state who work in both capacities, including myself. And I know Maxine does plenty of creative things as well as crisis communications. So I'm sure plenty of other folks are on here as well. So for those of you who are looking for upcoming creative things, and actually this one kind of crosses over as well. November 4th, the Minot Area Professional Communicators are going to host a virtual presentation from the City of Minot's PIO, Derek Hackett. If you weren't aware, Minot is North Dakota's most engaged city, and Derek is going to be explaining how his office is working to keep engagement numbers high, from newsletters and podcasts to social media and Monday morning week ahead news flashes. So Minot residents are never left wondering what's going on in their city. So, and then on November 9th, Kelvin Kingsley of KK Bold is going to present to our Bismarck group on web design and tech trends. And if you're a member of the Bismarck area group, watch your email inbox in our Facebook page for more details on that face-to-face get-together. I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. I'm going to drop into the chat our organization's address for North Dakota Professional Communicators. I said if you're interested in any of those upcoming activities. And again, a reminder that, like I said, the session was recorded today, and as soon as I'm able to get it uploaded, edited and uploaded to our website, I will share that out to everyone who was registered today, and Maxine and Rob are welcome to share that through their channels as well. So if no one else has questions, I'll let everyone go. So
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
thank you.